I have finished the project integration management knowledge area in the previous lectures. Now the only thing I want to show from here is some of the project integration management templates that are used in the integration management knowledge areas. So some of the templates that we'll be seeing is the project statement of work, the business case. We'll see how the project charter looks like. Then we are going to see what a project management plan looks like. We'll even look into the feasibility study, the project status reports, the lesson learned documents when we close the project, project acceptance criteria templates, and the post project review templates. So let's go to the first template that I would like to show you, and that is going to be project statement of work. So you can find these templates online. They are free for you to download and free to use. You have to go to www.projectmanagementdocs.com, and this is a template for project statement of work. So let's go and view what we have over here and all that is needed in the project statement of work. So you'll have your company name, your address, the date, the contents of the statement of work is introduction, scope of the work, period of performance, place of performance, work requirements, schedule milestones, acceptance criteria, other requirements. So all this is included in the statement of work. So now let's go through this really quick because you should be able to go and download this to your computer and go a lot more in detail. So what the project statement of work is going to have is an introduction and a background. It is a document which describes the scope of work required to complete a specific project. It is a formal document and must be agreed upon by all parties involved. In order to be effective, the statement of work must contain an appropriate level of detail so all parties clearly understand what work is required. So now let's go down even more. It should show you what the scope of work is going to be there. Again, is going to be a high level scope of work. It will show you the period of performance, as in how long is it going to take for the project, and if there are any delays in a project, and if it will not be completed within the defined period of a performance, a contract modification may be required and the cost of the project will increase as well. Then it will show you the place of performance, as in where the work is going to be performed. Will show you the work requirements, which includes a description of the actual tasks which the project will require. It will show you when is the kickoff going to be, when is the design phase going to start, when is the build phase going to start, the implementation, the training, and finally the project closure and handoff. It will even include the schedule milestones. Now you have an example of the different milestones for that project, which is shown here as an example. Again, when you go through this file in detail, you will completely understand what is the schedule milestones and how they are put into the project statement of work. Now the next thing you will have in the project statement of work is even the acceptance criteria. So this shows the section defines how the customer will accept the deliverables resulting from the statement of work. This section should include a description of how both parties will know when work is acceptable, how it will be accepted, and who is authorized to accept the work. Then any other requirements with respect to the statement of work, which is any special requirements such as security requirements, personnel with security clearance, and at what level, badges, etc. should be described in this section. And lastly, the acceptance of the statement of work. It is approved by who, on what date. So you will be asked questions regarding the statement of work and what it contains. Mostly you have to know this document contains high-level requirements, high-level schedule, milestones. Then it contains high-level work requirements, the place where it's performed, the period of performance, the high-level scope of work, and an introduction to the statement of work. Now let's go to the next template for the business case. Basically, why the project being done, explaining the purpose and justification of the project. So let's go to the business case. Again, you could go over here and download these templates for your personal use. It's a really good website, and what it contains is the summary of the business case analysis team, who all are going to be involved, how are they going to identify problems, then a project overview with project descriptions, goals and objectives, project performance, assumptions, constraints, and major project milestones. Then cost benefit analysis, alternative analysis, and approvals. So let's go really quick through this one as well. So executive summary. This section should provide general information on the issues surrounding the business problem and the proposed project or initiative created to address. Usually this section is completed last after all the sections of the business case have been written. This is because the summary is exactly that, a summary of the detail that is provided in subsequent sections of the documents. Issue. This section should briefly describe the business problems that the proposed project will address. The section should not describe how the problem will be addressed, only what the problem is. Now, anticipated outcomes, which should describe the anticipated outcome if the project or initiative is implemented. Now you should know we have the business case basically to justify taking the project, and that's why we have all these anticipated outcomes and issues that need to be addressed before we even select the project. Then recommendations summarizes the approach for how the project will address the business problem. It should also describe how desirable results will be achieved by moving forward with the project. Now again, this shows you an example of a certain scenario and how they go about it. Then the justification of this project, which justifies why the recommended project should be implemented and why it was selected over other alternatives. Then business case analysis team, who all are going to be involved in developing the business case and analyzing it and selecting if you do the project or you don't. Then problem statement, which describes the business problem that the project was created to address. The problem may be process, technology, or product service oriented. Organizational impact, how is going to organize the impact, how is going to impact our organization, how we are going to benefit from this project. Technology migration, how the new technology will be implemented and how data from the technology will be migrated. So it shows the different phases, how it is going to be implemented, how it's going to be migrated. It shows all the different phases that would be used for working on this project. Then a project overview of what the project is about. Again, high-level information about the project to include a description, goals and objectives, performance criteria, assumptions, constraints, and milestones. Then it's going to have a project description, which describes the approach the project will use to address the business problem. Then goals and objectives, which lists the business goals and objectives which are supported by the project and how the project will address them. Then project performance describes the measures that will be used to gauge the performance of the project and outcomes as they relate to key resources, processes, and services. It will even include the project assumptions, preliminary assumptions for the proposed project. As the project is selected and move in detailed project planning, the list of assumptions will more likely grow as the project plan is developed. Then the constraints that are related to the project. Does it have a cost constraint? Does it have a quality constraint? Does it have a schedule constraint? Which should be listed over here in the business case. Then it will even show what the major project milestones are going to be and their target completion dates. So over here you will see the major deliverables and the milestones. The project charter is due on this date, the project plan and review on another date, and then the project kickoff once all the project plans are approved. Then the phase 1 complete, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5, and finally closure and project completion date. Strategic alignment. All projects should support the organization strategy and strategic plan in order to add value and maintain executive and organizational support. That's why we do all the projects, is basically to support the organization's strategy and strategic plan. So we'll show the plan, the goals and objectives, and how's the project related to it. We'll even have the cost benefit analysis, as in how much cost we are going to put in and how much benefit we are going to get out of this project. So over here there's an example of how much you are going to have net first year savings when they add up all the costs and all the savings. You have to even show the alternative analysis. While the business is the result of having selected one such option, a brief summary of considered alternatives should also be included. As in, instead of taking this project, we should take something else, or work on some other project, or any other alternatives that we have with respect to the problem that we are facing. Then finally, the approvals. Who are the people involved in approving the business case? And mostly it is the president, CEO, or executive vice president. So that was your business case. Now let's go ahead and look into a project charter. Let's see how the project charter looks like. So now, what all is the project charter going to have? The contents are going to be project purpose or justification. Again, business need, business case, business objectives. They came from the business case that we already had. Project description is project objectives and success criteria. We got even that from the business case. Then the requirements, constraints, assumptions, preliminary scope statements, the risks associated with the project, project deliverables, summary milestone schedule, summary budget, project approval requirements, project manager, because the project manager is assigned during development of the project charter, and the authorization. Let's go really quick. Again, you have to read in detail with the example stated over here to understand how the project charter is written and what's the use of the project charter, so it makes a lot more sense. Then the summary should be a high level summary. You have to know it's a high level of what issues or problems the project was created to correct. The executive summary also provides the background information and general statements regarding the project's purpose or justification, which is covered more in detail later on in the charter. So project purpose or justification, we already saw that. Then the business case, the business need, the business objectives, project description, high level description of the project, project objectives, and the success criteria. Again, your objectives should be SMART, which are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. The project manager must be able to track these objectives in order to determine if the project is on path to success. Requirements: the project team should develop a list of high-level project requirements. Constraints or restrictions or limitations that the project manager must deal with pertaining to people, money, or equipment. Is the project manager's role to balance these constraints with available resources in order to ensure project success. Then assumptions. The project team must identify the assumptions that will be working under as the project goes forward. Now again, what's important over here is the project team together should identify these assumptions, not just one person. Preliminary scope statement. Again, the important word here is preliminary. So the preliminary scope statement is a general paragraph which highlights what the project will include, any high-level resources or requirements, descriptions, and what will constitute completion of the project. Then the high-level risks that we know of that are connected to this project. All projects have some form of risk attachment. This section should provide a list of high-level risks that the project team has determined apply to the project. Then project deliverables to the customer, to the project sponsor, to the stakeholders required upon the successful completion of the project. Every effort must be made to ensure this list includes all deliverables, and project sponsor approvals must be required for adding additional deliverables in order to avoid scope creep. Then summary, milestone schedules, when is the project going to start, completion, solution design, acquire hardware, deploy solution, project complete. So this is a summary milestone schedule that should be incorporated in the project charter. Then the summary budget, as in how much it's going to cost us. So this is the summary budget. Obviously this will change. It's more of a high level summary budget. Project approval requirements, as in who is going to approve the requirements when the project has reached its successful completion. Finally, the project manager is going to be appointed when we do the project charter. So, and it gives him the authority to use the resources and start working on this project once the project charter is approved. And the authorization, which is approved by the project sponsor. So this is important over here. The project sponsor is the one who approves the project charter. He signs it and he dates it, and that's when the project will officially start. Now let's go and see some more templates. This is the feasibility study for the project. Again, this comes before the project charter. The contents are executive summary, description of products and services, technology considerations, product, service, marketplace, marketing strategy, organization and staffing, schedule, financial projections, findings and recommendations. Let's go really quick. Then the executive summary, an overview of the content contained in the feasibility study. Many people write these sections after the rest of the document is complete. Description of the product and services, what we are going to provide, what services the product going to survive, and a high-level description of what the project is going to be about. Technology considerations, as in what technology are we going to use for this project to manage or monitor this project. Product, service, marketplace, existing marketplace for products and services the organization is considering. It may describe who the target market consists of for these products or services. Then we have the marketing strategy, how we are going to market this product afterwards. Organization and staffing, with many new products or services, they may need be for additional staffing that we would need to hire for this project, or restructure the organization in order to accommodate the change. Then the schedule, it is intended to provide a high-level framework for implementation of product or service being considered, which shows the schedules. When do we create the initial project? When's the kickoff? Online sales, first site design, testing complete. Then we go into the beta trial mode and we go for the live launch of the site. And again, these are high level. Financial projections, as in how much money we are going to make out of this project or product through online sales projections, staffing cost, then training for sales and staff, cash inflow. So it shows you in 5 years was the total financial projection. Then findings and recommendation. Using this feasibility study, what do we find? What are the recommendations? Should we go ahead with this project or should we not? Now the next template we are going to see is project acceptance criteria, which is a document which basically establishes formal acceptance of all the deliverables for the project. The project has met all the acceptance criteria as defined in the requirement document and the project scope statement. And finally, the project manager is authorized to continue with the formal closure of this project when he receives a confirmation that the project has been accepted and the sponsor has accepted. If he accepts that, he is going to approve it and he's going to sign for it. Now the next one is the project management plan from the planning process group. So the project management plan is a detailed document which includes a lot of subsidiary plans that you see over here as well, but we are going to go through this really quick, and when we go in each chapter we are going to see the project plans for those specific knowledge areas. It provides a high-level overview of the project and what is included in the project management plan. This should include a high-level description of the project and describes the project deliverables and benefits. It should show you the project management approach, how we are going to go about with the project. You will outline the overall management approach for this project. It should describe in terms the roles and authority of the project team members. It should also include which organizations would provide resources for the project and any resource constraints or limitations. Then it will show the project scope. State the scope of the project in this section. The scope statement from this project charter should be used as a starting point. However, the project plan needs to include a much more detailed scope than just the project charter. So you have to remember it is just high level. You will have the detailed scope when you go to the scope management knowledge area. Then we'll show the milestone list, which shows all the different milestones with respect to that particular project. Schedule baseline and work breakdown structure. It should discuss how the work breakdown structure is going to be structured, how we're going to set the schedule baseline and how they will be used in managing the project scope. The WBS defines the work packages. The schedule baseline and work breakdown structure should be created in any project software. An example is Microsoft Project. Then it will have a change management plan, which describes your change control process, how the change control process is applied and how it is going to work with respect to the change control board and who is going to review it, who is going to authorize it, how the whole process is going to be. Then the communication management plan, where it shows you how you are going to communicate as a project manager with the team, with the stakeholders, with the sponsors, with everyone who is involved in the project. Then it goes with the communication types. How is it going to be communicated to who? Is it going to be communicated weekly? Is it going to be communicated monthly or as needed? Again, who should it be communicated to weekly, as in like a project status report should be communicated weekly to the project sponsor, the team, and the stakeholders. Then weekly project team management team meeting you will have with the project team. Then technical design review. How are we going to communicate that? When is that going to happen? Again, it's going to happen as needed, where it shows the frequency. What is the format of the communication? Is it going to be in person or in email or through phone? How is that going to take care? So all that will show in the communication management plan. The project team directly for all communications. Who all are we going to communicate with as project managers? And then with all the people, we have their titles, their names, their emails, their phone, and their office phones. Then it will show how the cost is going to be managed with respect to the cost management plan. Then how we are going to manage procurements and how we are going to identify the necessary steps and responsibilities for procurements from the beginning to the end of project. Then it will have a project scope management plan. It defines the whole scope in detail. It will show the scope statement, the work breakdown structure, dictionary, statement of work, etc. Who is responsible for accepting the final project deliverable and approves acceptance of project scope. Then the schedule management plan, how we are going to manage the time to finish the project on the proper schedule. Quality management plan, how we are going to maintain the quality for this project. Risk management plan, how we are going to manage the risks that are associated with the project. Do we assign some reserves for the risks? What different techniques are we going to use? What inputs we are going to use? What outputs are going to be used? All that will go in the risk management plan. Now you should know All these are subsidiary plans of the project management plan, but it will be included in the project management plan itself. Then the risk, we'll have a risk register. What's going to be in the risk register? How are we going to manage the risk register? Who is going to be managing the risk register? All that would be in the risk register. Then the staffing management plan, how we manage the staff, the resources, who we hire, who we fire, when are they available, all that would be in the staffing management plan. Then the resource calendar with respect to all the team members and the stakeholders who are going to be involved in this project. How many hours of per month are they going to be available, which days or months they are going to be on vacation. All that will be included in the resource calendar. You will have a cost baseline that is going to be set so that we try to manage to keep the costs within the limit. It shows you how much money we are going to spend for planning, design, coding, testing, and transition and closeout. Again, you'll have a quality baseline. We should include quality baseline where you know that you have to stay within a certain acceptable limit with respect to the quality so that the product will be acceptable. Again, that will be shown in the acceptance criteria. And finally, the project sponsor will accept the project management plan, and then everyone, the team, will go ahead and start working with respect to the project management plan. Now let's see a few more templates. Let's see the project status report. Now where is the project status report? We do the project status report right here in the monitor and control project work process. What is involved in the project status report? Is work completed last month? How much work did we finish last month? Again, we have to send this status report to the sponsor, to the client, to show them that we are working continually on the project and we are staying within the cost, within the budget. Work completed last week, work planned for last week, any issues that are open with respect to the work that we are doing right now, any risks that are open with respect to the work that we have right now, and are we working on the risk, are we working on the issues, and what is the verge of occurrence of the risks, and stuff like that would be reported. Deliverables and milestones, where are the deliverables, are we on the deliverable time, are we reaching the milestones, are we behind schedule, all that would be shown over here. What's the status, the forecast, the planned, and what shows in the work breakdown structure. Then change request, what change request we received when it went through the board, what is the current status. Right now it's in review with the change control board, or it would be if it is approved or if it is rejected by the change control board. Again, that has to be reported to the client. Key performance indicators, where we show the schedule variance, the schedule performance index, cost variance, the cost performance index with respect to the actual and the planned. And that's all in the project status report. Now let's see if we have more. We are going to look into the root cause analysis. Now root cause analysis is the technique that is used to monitor and control project work. You'll see it right here, root cause analysis, forecasting methods. So we just have a template for root cause analysis right now, so we're gonna see that. So the description of the root cause, the chronology of events or timeline when uh, the cause that happened, and the investigation team that is part to investigate the root cause, and then the findings and the corrective action that will be taken to fix the root cause. So this section highlights the purpose and importance of the root cause analysis. It provides a discussion of the approach taken to identify and document the root cause of a particular problem and the follow-up actions necessary to properly address the root cause. It also highlights what root causes should or should not consist of. And the event description, as in why did that happen, how did that happen, what were the steps involved to find the problem that was indicated. Then chronology of events and timeline. It gives you an example of the timeline as to when that exactly happens when you try to repeat it over a few times. And the investigation team who is responsible to investigate the root cause and the method that they use to find the root cause of the problem. Then the findings of the root cause, as in what they found, and then that you will have to write it down and say this was the problem that we found and this is the root cause and this needs to be fixed. And finally the corrective action that will be used to correct the problem. We have another template that is again used in the project integration management, and that is the lesson learned document. Now this goes in the closing phase. When the project is closed, we should have the lesson learned documents so that we can use it for future projects. Lesson learned approach, lesson learned from the project, lesson learned knowledge base, the database, lesson learned applied from previous project, process improvement recommendations. So what we have to do is capture the lesson learned, which is an integral part of every project and serves several purposes. You should know the finalization of the lesson learned document is completed during the project closeout, but capturing the lesson learned should occur throughout the project lifecycle. This is extremely important that you need to know. If they ask you when are the lesson learned documents, when do you work on the lesson learned documents, it's not only during the project closeout, it occurs throughout the project lifecycle. Then the lesson learned approach describes how the document will be created, what it will consist of, and how lessons will be categorized. Lessons learned from this project. What happened in this project? What have we learned so that we can fix it so that we don't have this problem in the next project? An example for this project was the communication was not good, so we have to make sure that we have to improve on the communications for the project. So it gives you different categories where in procurement management, what was the problem, what was the success, what was the impact, what was the recommendation. Same thing goes with different knowledge areas: human resource management, quality management, scope management, risk management. Then finally it goes into the lesson learned knowledge database. Lesson learned applied from previous projects, like if you're working on a current project right now, so you should be able to go back and learn from the previous projects if they had similar problems and how they fixed it. Finally, you have the process improvement recommendations as to how we are going to improve the process and what other recommendations so that we don't have this problem in future projects. And now let's see the last one, which is the project review template. This is after we finished the project. So it's a post project review template. The contents of this is the project summary, project team and staffing, project deliverables, transition to operations, project costs, project schedules, and recommendations. So it will talk about the project summary, how the project went. It should provide a summary of the project which was completed. It is important that the summary captures the scope of the project and contains enough detail to provide a full understanding of the project, since this document will communicate what went right or wrong with the project. Project team and staffing. This section provides information about who the project team consists of. If you see this table over here, it shows the name, the title, the project role, and their emails. In case during the lesson learned for the future project they encounter a problem, then they can contact the previous project team and who worked on it to solve the problem. Project deliverables, what were planned versus actual, how they were delivered. So the planned deliverable, actual deliverable, and the summary as if it was delivered on time as planned, or it was late and it wasn't delivered. So that will go in the project deliverables. Then transition to operations. When the project is done, there's going to be transition to operations, so they can make sure that the software or the project after it's delivered runs smoothly without any errors. So this section describes the transition of the project to operations upon completion. This section should include any difficulties or challenges faced during the transition time. Then the project cost, it describes how the planned or budgeted cost for the project compare with the actual cost. Cost may be affected by scope creep, poor planning, schedule delays, progressive elaboration, or many other factors. So the budgeted cost was this, and this is how it actually costed for the product design. In some cases it will cost you more, in some cases it will cost you less, so it has to be shown in the project cost in a form of a table. Same thing goes with the project schedule. What was the schedule completion and what was the actual completion date, if it was completed on time, if it was not completed on time, and why it was not completed on time. Then any recommendations for the teams using this project in the future, so you will list all the recommendations over there. And finally, the acceptance from the project sponsor, who will accept the post project document. So these are all the templates that you would need during the project integration management knowledge area, but we have a lot more templates coming up, but the most templates are used in the project integration management because it starts all the way from initiating and ends all the way to closing, and it's the whole framework for the whole project. So the most number of the project documents are going to be part of your integration. Again, this is Tutor Ali. If you like the videos, please hit the like button, and I hope to see you in my next class. Thank you.